What would you do if your next hike in the American wilderness turned into a deadly encounter with a bear? While bear attacks are rare, they can happen in some of the most unexpected moments, turning a peaceful outdoor adventure into a terrifying fight for survival. What triggers these aggressive confrontations, and how can you increase your chances of making it out alive? Follow us in today's video. On September 1st, 2019, a tragic grizzly bear attack claimed the life of Palascak, a 44-year-old wilderness guide in the remote backcountry of Yukon, Canada. Palascak, an experienced outdoorswoman who had spent years working in the wilderness tourism industry, was leading a group of tourists on an expedition near Innerson Lake when the fatal encounter occurred. The incident stands as a stark reminder of the unpredictability of wildlife, even for those well-versed in outdoor survival and safety. Palascak and her partner, also a guide, were guiding a group of tourists through the rugged and wild terrain that draws adventure seekers to the Yukon's expansive backcountry. The area, known for its pristine landscapes, is home to a variety of wildlife, including grizzly bears. While bears are often spotted from a distance in this region, direct and aggressive confrontations are rare. The group had set up camp for the night when, without warning, a grizzly bear appeared. The bear charged directly at Palascak. Despite her extensive knowledge of bear behavior and safety protocols, Palascak was unable to defend herself against the ferocious attack. The bear inflicted fatal injuries, and she died at the scene. Her partner, acting quickly, managed to scare the bear away from the camp, ensuring the safety of the other tourists. The bear's behavior was deemed highly unusual, as it had not been provoked and had shown no prior signs of aggression toward the group. Wildlife officials responding to the attack tracked and killed the bear shortly after the incident. Upon investigation, it was believed that the bear had likely become food conditioned, a dangerous behavior in which bears associate humans with food sources. When bears lose their natural fear of humans due to food conditioning, they can become more aggressive and more likely to attack, even unprovoked. Palascak's tragic death left the outdoor community in shock. Despite her experience, expertise, and passion for the wilderness, she fell victim to the harsh realities of nature. The incident underscores that even the most prepared and knowledgeable individuals are not immune to the dangers posed by wild animals, especially in remote areas like the Yukon. Palascak's death serves as a sobering reminder that safety measures must be rigorously followed in bear country. Carrying bear spray at all times, ensuring campsites are free of food attractants, and staying vigilant in bear territory are critical precautions. Travelers in bear country should always be aware of their surroundings, store food properly, and respect wildlife by keeping a safe distance. Story 2. On the night of July 28, 2010, my understanding of the wild forever changed. It was the night I found myself deep in the heart of bear country, at a campground called Soda Butte, just outside the small town of Cook City, Montana, and not far from the eastern edge of Yellowstone National Park. What was meant to be a peaceful night under the stars turned into one of the most terrifying bear attacks in recent US history. The events of that night still send a shiver down my spine, and they serve as a powerful reminder of the unpredictable and sometimes brutal nature of the wilderness. The campground was small, remote, and peaceful, nestled among tall trees and surrounded by majestic mountains. The group I was with had spent the day hiking nearby trails and exploring the rugged landscape. We were well aware that this was bear country after all. Montana and Yellowstone are home to some of the largest populations of grizzlies in the lower 48 states. We had bear spray, kept our food stored in bear-proof containers, and followed every precaution to minimize the chances of attracting a bear to our campsite. But no amount of preparation can completely eliminate the risk of an encounter. That night, we all settled into our tents early, exhausted from the day's adventure. The air was cool, the stars were bright, and the sounds of the wilderness lulled us into a peaceful sleep. But around 2 a.m., something went terribly wrong. A 400-pound female grizzly bear had wandered into the campground, drawn by the smell of food from campers, or perhaps just acting out of instinct. According to experts later, this bear had been spotted near human activity in the past few weeks, and its behavior had become more aggressive, likely due to the scarcity of natural food sources. This bear had learned to associate campsites with food, which would lead to a deadly outcome. I didn't hear anything at first, but nearby campers woke to the sound of something heavy rustling through the campground. Panic spread when the bear began attacking tents. It first tore into a tent where a couple from Ontario, Canada was staying. The woman, Deb Friel, was asleep when the bear clawed its way into her tent. In her confusion, she didn't know what was happening until the bear clamped down on her arm. Deb described the pain as unimaginable, a searing, crushing force. She remembered thinking, "I'm not going to die here." With remarkable calm under pressure, Deb played dead, going limp, which probably saved her life. The bear eventually released her and moved on. Deb was left badly injured, her arm broken and covered in bite marks, but she survived. Next, the bear made its way to another tent. This time, the victim wasn't so lucky. 48-year-old Don Wilhelm from Grand Rapids, Michigan, had been camping alone. He had no time to react when the bear dragged him from his tent. The grizzly mauled him to death in a brutal attack. By the time others at the campsite became aware of the situation, it was already too late. Don's life was taken quickly, without warning, and without a chance to defend himself. The bear's final attack came when it entered another tent, where a man from Ohio was sleeping. Two suffered serious injuries, but like Deb, he managed to survive. The next morning, the campground was a scene of chaos. Word of the attack spread quickly. Rangers and wildlife officials were immediately called in to investigate and ensure the safety of the remaining campers. It didn't take long for the authorities to identify the bear responsible for the attacks. Traps were set up in the area, and just days later, the 400-pound female grizzly was captured and euthanized. DNA evidence confirmed it was the same bear involved in all three attacks. The tragedy shocked not only the local community, but also campers and outdoor enthusiasts across the country. Grizzly bear attacks on humans are rare, especially ones that involve multiple people in the same night. But this incident highlighted the dangers of living and recreating in bear country. Experts speculated that the bear was likely hungry and had become habituated to finding food around humans. It's possible that environmental factors such as a lack of natural food sources pushed the bear closer to human areas in search of sustenance. Looking back, I can't help but think about how fragile the balance between humans and nature really is. So while we may feel safe in our tents or hiking in the wild, the truth is, we are always visitors in the domain of animals that have roamed these lands long before we arrived. The wilderness commands respect, and part of that respect means understanding that even with the best precautions, there are no guarantees. If there's one lesson I've taken away from this tragedy, it's that preparation is essential, but so is humility. When you're in bear country, you have to accept that you're sharing the land with one of the most powerful predators in North America. If you plan to camp in grizzly territory, you need to be hyper-aware of your surroundings and take every step possible to minimize your impact. If you want more tips and insights on staying safe outdoors, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest videos. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next adventure.